Hey everybody, welcome back to Shop Dog Fabrication. So today what I'm going to do is switch my bead roller from a hand crank over to a motor setup. I'm going to make it very simple, to do based on just stuff I've got lying around the garage. So what I'm going to take is, I've got this timing chain gear set. So I'm going to mount it up, to where the handle was. I'm going to take my drill here, and I'll do it to where I can remove it and install it. And I'll mount it down here. And it actually lines up pretty good with this lower pulley. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this variable speed controller on my drill so I can reduce the speed to a real slow speed. And then I've got this little foot pedal that I can hit and turn it on and off kind of as I'm doing the bead rolling. So if I need to stop it, I can hit it to adjust my hands or do whatever, and then I can hit the button and keep going. So with that said, let me figure out how I'm going to mount this sucker onto there to start with, and then we'll figure out the next step, which is how to mount the drill up. So stay tuned, let me get set up and start kind of fiddling around with some things and see what I can do to get this mounted up. What I figured out, guys, is this is a 1-inch inside diameter piece of tubing. It's a little over 1 inch long that I cut down. I'm going to take this nice big washer and I'm going to basically weld it to the washer. And then what I'll do is take this washer, I'll drill out some holes, and then I'll bolt it to the back side of the cam pulley here. And that way we'll be able to mount this to the bead roller. And then the next step will be, what do I need to do to mount the drill to the bead roller so it will align with the lower pulley? And then we'll see how the gear reduction works and how slow I can get it to go, and I'll throw something in there and we'll see what it does. But let me go ahead and weld this up, get this bolted first, and then we'll go to the next step, which is how can I get the drill to mount and get it to align with that lower pulley. So hey guys, my original idea was to take this piece of steel, mount it here, mount the drill, make a bracket basically, slip this over, take a bracket, weld it to this, and then basically run this long shaft into the lower chain. But what I found out is, this is actually pretty wobbly and the chain skips around a little bit because of the resistance from this whole setup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my design to this instead. I'm actually now going to move it more along this side over here. And what it'll do is by mounting it actually down here on this bar is I will be able to take the drill and have it more or less just like this. A real short shaft, maybe only about 1 inch long instead. And then what I'll do is I can create a tensioner setup, and I can put some tension on this chain to keep it from skipping on these sprockets here. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now, is kind of set it up to do that type of a design. So now what I'll do is make these changes, and we'll go from there. Kind of show you, pics, and kind of stop maybe now and then and do a little instruction on how I did it. So with that said, let me set up, then we'll start doing some of the next steps. So one thing, guys, that you'll see is I've got a pretty droopy chain here. Unfortunately, I didn't take this piece and make it long enough out. And I was going to run a tensioner anyway, so what I'm going to do is put a tensioner on it down here to put a little tension on this. And the reason why is you can kind of see it's wanting to skip in the video there. But when I take my finger and hold this up and run it, you know, the skip goes away. So now what I'm going to do is fabricate a little tensioner here to kind of just put a little pressure on this to make sure it stays engaged to the big sprocket, and that'll go away. And then this will pretty much be done. So what I did here, you know, I just took some round bar, welded it to this big washer, drilled out the washer, and then ran some bolts through and tightened it up onto the big sprocket here on the front. And then, you know, I basically ran a bolt here to tighten it to the flat edge of the piece of stock that comes out that drives this gear. And then, of course, that gear drives this gear. So then, here, I took again, another piece of aluminum. This is solid aluminum. Made it so it would fit the bottom sprocket. And then basically wedged in here a keyway to hold, so it would basically, you know, be locked to the sprocket, to the aluminum piece. And then I did tap and thread this piece. Ran a long bolt through that is completely threaded. And then you can see I ran a nut onto that to hold it all together nice and tight. And then just used my chuck and, you know, tighten it to the drill bit. And then you can see here, I basically took a collar, you know, with two pieces of flat stock, so I can unscrew this, separate the flat stock here, and then take my drill out if I need to use it. And then I just welded it to, you know, my bead roller itself. So I can, you know, basically undo this, take my drill out, or, you know, put my drill back in, and all I got to do is tighten these two pieces, and I'm set to go. So for my tensioner, again, this is just a scrap piece I had lying around. This tensioner, there's a bearing in there. Again, I just kind of machined out a little bit of aluminum, slipped it in here with a bolt and a washer and a nut, and then just a simple little piece of flat stock to attach it. And then the flat stock, I just ran a couple of self-tappers up and tighten it to the bottom of the bead roller again. So that's really just my setup. And again, I'm running here a variable speed controller, so I can control the speed that I want this to run at when I'm doing my bead rolling. And then I've got a simple foot switch. Right here, I've just got a simple foot switch, you know, on, off, you can see, so I can control, you know, the speed of this, or turn it on and off, I'm sorry. So that way I can control it when I'm using it. So that's basically my bead roller in a nutshell. Honestly, I have zero money into this. This is stuff that I just had lying around as scrap. And I hope this gives you guys some ideas that you can use to do your bead roller. So guys, I hope my ideas here that I did for my bead roller inspires you to come up with some ideas to do your own. Again, I have really zero cost into doing this except for my time. Everything I had lying around in the shop as scraps. So I basically put this together, you know, in a few hours, and now it's going to be nice to be able to do my bead rolling without having to have either my wife come out and help, or me try to hold the workpiece and then try to turn the steering wheel with the other hand. So this works out really well. So again, guys, I hope it helped you. Get out your shop, fabricate something up, and have some fun. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to watch the video. Take care.